Welcome to episode 59 of The Awkward Tape. It's a podcast where awkward friends have awkward conversations about awkward things. We have a new sign on our wall.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this is the best thing ever. Evan's sister works for a company called the Global Swap Shop, and I reached out to them while I was looking for a sign, and I was like, "Hey, how much would this be?" And Jamie pulled us some strings, talked to her boss, and her boss said, "Hey, we know this is for your brother's podcast, so we'll just make you pay for shipping and give you this awesome sign." So look at the beauty, guys.
Got some ducks on it too. It's not the awkward
Oh, we
tape
got some
sign.
ducks on it. And then can they also see Andy up there? Was that in
Maybe
frame?
he has to
Hope
be
so.
in here
Maybe
somewhere.
we have Andy kind of hiding next to the sign in the top right hand corner. Maybe you can see him, maybe you can't. But anyways, shout outs to Jamie, my sister. Shout outs to the Global Swap Shop for giving us this sign for practically free. It was just having to pay for shipping.
Yeah.
So shout outs to them. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we love them. Global Swap Shop. Thank you so much,
Yes.
and you too,
Thank
Jamie.
you.
You're the bomb.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, I realized the story I wanted to tell might take a little bit too long. So how about we do that after the intro?
Okay.
Okay,
Is
that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So go
All right,
ahead
fair
and
enough.
give us what you've been thinking about
I
lately.
wasn't ready for that, but
Good old PP.
here we go.
Well, you normally
that's
have an awkward pause anyway, so it's kind of just normal.
Yes.
Honestly.
It's natural. Except
Those
it's
are
It's not natural,
My-
but it's just become. Presley's been training us to where we just get used to it.
those are my life goals. Hold on. My favorite conspiracy is that everything's going to be okay.
That is a conspiracy theory if I've ever once heard one.
interesting.
What do you think about that?
Temporarily, maybe, but in the long term, no.
What's funny is I have the exact opposite take. Like temporarily, no. In
Yes.
the long term, yeah.
That's what I
Oh
think.
well, I guess it just depends on your worldview. So like for in a secular,
Well, I flipped his mind immediately.
secular-
so like in a secular view, the
inappropriate.
whole universe is just losing energy slowly, and we're all gonna die. So in the long term, no. But in a more religious view, like us being Christians, we go to heaven at some point. So yeah.
Yes.
Take
Yeah,
me
that's right.
now.
If you're secular out there, you have to be so depressed. That's what Zach is saying to you right now.
Well, I'm not saying you have to believe that, but really, if you believe in the laws of the universe, all
Listen,
energy is
he's-
dying.
he's
Calm
not saying
down,
that
Neil
you.
deGrasse Tyson.
He's not saying that you have to be depressed, but it helps.
I don't always have to talk.
Also, can we please get
He's learning.
Neil deGrasse Tyson on this show? That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Maybe
Very
here, I'll
cool.
just send him a text real quick. It'll be that.
Oh yeah,
easy.
just send him a text. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, why is that a conspiracy though?
It's a conspiracy theory. Like what does everybody say? Everything's going to be okay. They don't know that. That's a
because they wanna have
conspiracy.
To comfort people.
It makes
Yeah,
as much. Yeah. You know what else comforts people? Conspiracies. Makes them feel like they're in the know.
It's a false sense of security.
I don't know if they
You're not
always
okay.
help comfort. Well, maybe in a sense, depending on your definition.
It's a
But
strange comfort. It's about my comfort level, which is
Well,
not at
no,
all.
but you're always uncomfortable though.
Maybe sometimes people don't need to be okay.
Maybe sometimes
Ooh.
they
Now
don't
that's-
need to be comfortable.
That's a conspiracy.
Come to me if you ever want to be
It's a
uncomfortable.
fact.
Well, we know that. We've been doing that for years.
Ladies, if you want to be very uncomfortable, we know
Go
you're
to
a
this
man.
guy.
I got weird.
All right. So roll
Even
the
though he's already
intro.
taken by Smith, but
Yeah, he's mine.
Yeah.
Yep. Welcome back to episode 59 of the Awkward Tapes. We're gonna have a little free flow conversation here soon. I got a story I'm gonna tell the guys, so prepare yourself for a session of awkwardness. All right, so we're back. Hold on, let me fix this. This is
Oh, my bad.
there we go. So you guys know how I started a job recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. At I don't know. We'll call this place Hose. So
How's it
There's
been
no
in
way to
Hose?
figure out what that is. By
Yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
it might rhyme with it. I don't know. A little part-time thing while I find a full-time job. So yeah, I started at this Hose a couple weeks ago, and they put me in the lumber department, which the lumber department requires you to do a lot of work. It's a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of like fast-paced stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. So whatever, I can do that. Well, I started meeting people in Hose and around the different departments, and almost everyone I was meeting, they would ask what department I was in, and I would say lumber, and they'd be like, "Oh, good luck." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I guess they were just talking about all the work that I was gonna have to do. I was like, well, I mean, it doesn't bother me, whatever. So yeah, I get there my first day, and I'm doing like, you got to do like the computer training courses on the computer before you like work or whatever. So I'm scheduled for like 7 hours that day, and so I do my like 3 hours of training, and then the HR lady, she's like, I just feel bad for you. I want you to go out to the floor because you're just sitting in here, you're bored. I know it. So I'm like, okay, don't know what I'm doing yet, but sure.
Yeah.
Go out to the floor, the hose floor,
Hose floor.
and I am greeted by this one guy. He's a Hispanic guy. He's like one of the managers in lumber,
Cool.
and he's like saying something. He introduced himself, and sooner I find myself just kind of walking through the aisles, and like he's like, yeah, if you see that needs to be fixed, you straighten it up, blah blah blah. I'm like, all right. So he goes on about his day. He's just like gone. So I'm like, well, all right, guess I'm just like straightening these up. So I straighten them up, and yeah, I meet some more people throughout the day. They're warning me about lumber. I'm
Uh-oh.
like, okay, that's weird.
The hose.
Whatever,
At the lumber
just
department.
a lot of work. It'll be okay. And so basically I end up leaving, and I go home, and I think it's strange that they kind of just threw me out to the wolves. I was like, that is just odd. I don't know why they would do that on my first day. I have no clue what I'm doing. I didn't even finish my training yet, which I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to do.
Like you don't even know your whole job description
No,
yet.
not at
Yeah.
all.
Okay.
I don't have a forklift license yet. I don't have a
no.
certification to use the wood, like the saw thing. You have to like take a class for that.
Oh yeah.
Didn't have that, so I couldn't
I
use
think
that.
that's called a saw.
Well, it's like it's not a saw. It's like a machine, and you like put it through the machine.
Oh, that's
So-
called a
And- and-
CNC machine.
And it's got
Sure.
a blade.
Sure.
Some call it a saw.
It's not.
Oh my gosh.
It's not.
What he's probably talking about is like it's like smooths the wood out.
I know what a saw is.
you were saying. You were saying.
Yeah.
Back to the story.
You're not a smart guy, Presley.
Okay. You're at hose, ladies.
I'm at hose. On
You're
the
at
floor.
hose.
I go in for my second day, and it's the same thing. I
right.
go in. It's like 8, and the HR lady's like, "Hey, I told your boss that you'd be back here working on your class, like your online courses for a little bit. You'll go out there in a little bit." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. He knows, so I'm covered." So I'll do my online like courses for a couple hours, and then she's like, "Hey, I feel bad for you. You're sitting here by yourself." Blah, 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 same thing. So she sends me back out there. I'm like, "Okay, this is weird again." So the next 6 hours or so, I'm gonna have to do something I have no idea about. So I'm greeted by the Hispanic guy, one of the managers in lumber, and he just starts going in on me,
Oh.
like blah, 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 blah. He's going in and out of Spanish.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, "What are you saying? I know you're mad, but I don't know what you're talking about."
What the?
And I'm like, "Okay, hold on. What's going on?" He's like, "I didn't think you were here. Like, I've been by myself in lumber for 3 hours now. By myself. You weren't here." I'm like, "Well, she told me that, she told you I was in the back doing my stuff." He's like, "No, no one told me that." Blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Blah, blah,
gosh.
blah, blah. One word's English, another word's Spanish. Back to, I just spit. Another English. I just spit on Presley. That's what you get.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I saw it.
He wants me to. He's like, "Okay, follow me." So I follow him on the forklift, and I'm like, he's like, freaking moving fast. He's like going straight down the aisle and turn and lift it up and put it in the wood and bring it back. He's flying,
Jerking around.
Yes, it was just scaring me. But yeah,
Jerking
so
around
he's
the
like
lumber.
doing orders and stuff, and then out of nowhere he just disappears. I'm by myself again. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do the default thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna straighten the aisles, start straightening the aisles or whatever. Eventually, he's like, "I'm going on lunch." I'm like, okay, that's weird.
All right.
Then he comes back.
Yeah, who eats lunch?
People are still warning me about this place. I'm like, that's odd. Then eventually he comes back like 2 hours later after I didn't see him for a couple hours. It's like, "Hey, I'm leaving. If you need any help, just ask someone." I was by myself in the lumber department.
In the lumber department.
In hose.
And hose.
My second day. I don't know. I literally can't do things in that department.
Yeah.
And so when people needed help, I just had to send them to someone else for the 4 hours that I was there. So there's this vendor that was there. He comes in once a week to deliver lumber.
Cool.
And he starts telling me that about how bad it is. Not just the work, but how it's ran. And I'm like, you know what? That might make sense. I'm getting a glimpse of it. So he starts telling me, and I won't, the story will end soon. He
no,
starts.
I'm enjoying this.
Well, he
Like,
just
keep it
starts.
going.
He just starts telling me about all the bad things that he's seen and how the turnover rate in lumber is just god awful and people can't stay. And he's like, it's not because of the work; it's because how it's managed. He's like, just a warning. He was a nice guy.
And that's just a vendor. Like he doesn't even work at Hose.
Right. He's just
Yeah.
a vendor. That's where they get, like, he works for the company that Hose get their wood from.
Wow. Okay. So so what's next?
Boss.
This whole conversation.
So, yeah, one thing he told me was my boss, when he doesn't want to help a customer out, he will like act like he doesn't know English. And so they'll ask him a question. He's like, no hablo inglés, or however you say it.
Oh wow.
And he's like, he'll like point at someone else to help them. I'm like, you're the manager. You can't do that. And so things kept escalating, and I'm probably forgetting more. This was a day. Let me tell y'all. There was some more that went on, and I'm like, this is not good. This
What day is this? Like day 3, day 4?
Day 2.
Day 2.
This was my second day. I was by myself in the department. And so I'm thinking while I'm working, I'm like, wonder if that grocery store I used to work at is still hiring. So I text my boss. I'm like, hey, you hiring by any chance? She's like, we always are. And I'm like, I think you might be applying. She said,
No.
you're hired. And I am back at the grocery store now.
you are, so you're no longer
way.
at Lowe's.
I quit after day 2.
Or sorry,
Wow.
Hose. But
Everyone
my
knew
God.
what we were
Wow.
talking about.
But I am making. All right. So I basically don't have to be trained there. I worked there for so long, as y'all know.
oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's just a couple things that are new that I'm having to learn. Everything else I know.
Wait, so are they going to pay you adequately now?
That's what I was about to say.
Uh-oh.
I'm being paid $4 more an hour than what I left off at.
Oh,
Oh
good.
my
Which
gosh,
all in all is
that's-
50 cents less than what you were
50
making at
cents left
Hose.
than what I was making at Hose.
Word.
And it's,
Okay.
I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm
Good.
comfortable there.
That's good.
That's
So, yeah.
good, man.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah,
Sticking
forget
it to the man.
Forget Hose.
Now,
You don't need
also-
the lumber.
Now you can say that you've worked 2 days.
2 days at Hose.
2 days.
He worked
And now
2
you're
days.
you're probably more of a fan of the Ho Depot.
Yes. Exactly. I'll do all my wood shopping at Home Depot.
Oh,
okay.
It's getting okay.
We promise this is a family podcast. We apologize.
This is like suggestive themes. This is like not rated E for everyone. This is like E10 and up.
This is like in those Disney movies when
Wait,
they throw in
pause.
adult humor, but only some people get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I think everyone understood that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
That was
Yeah,
fine.
welcome.
We'll leave it. Noah doesn't get it.
I
We'll leave it
found
to the
out-
imagination.
Believe it or not, I found out my nephew AJ watches our podcast.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
AJ.
does?
Yeah.
Oh, shout
Scary.
out to AJ. Hello.
Yeah, kind of scary.
You might
Love
have to
you,
skip,
bud.
Might have to skip this one.
Yeah, but
Or all of them.
Or all
So-
of them.
Yeah, so that's my story. But
What a story.
Wow, that is. So now you're back at the grocery.
let me tell you though, that is gonna make for some good podcast stories.
Wow.
I already have some because I told that story. I won't. I'm not, but I'm. Yeah.
Hey,
Save it for
maybe in a
another
couple
day.
episodes when
Yeah.
we do
Yeah,
another
I can do that.
conversation.
I have
yeah.
one off the top of my head that I could tell. But switching gears from our work life to school life, what is something you learned in school that's been surprisingly helpful? And that actually
Oh.
you don't think about, and you're like, why did we learn that?
For me in my class, I'm taking a KPI class right now, key performance indicators.
And what is that?
And a key performance indicator, it could be most anything, but it's just basically something that, I mean, just a key indicator, like say a statistic or a number of some sort of data, and it just indicates for that performance or whatever. So it could be, oh, we're trying to get like this management better or whatever, and you see like, oh, people aren't doing their reviews on time. So like, what's the numbers on that? Like, key performance indicator can be many of things. But while I've been doing this class, it's been a lot of Excel work, and it's been a lot of like V lookups and pivot tables, which
I know what you're talking about, actually.
yeah, no,
I do.
that's been something to where I'm like, okay, this is something that I could actually see me using in the real world, to where like you have to use Excel for a number of jobs, especially since I'm going into business, and just it seems actually helpful opposed to something else to where you open up your textbook and you just have to memorize these random definitions, and it's like, this doesn't help me. Like, I'm not going to use this in my job. Like, this is a class just strictly so I can get my degree and move on. But this is something to where I'm like, okay, this actually does seem useful.
I have one.
there was so
Or
many
Zach can interrupt.
words. Sorry, I just wanted to comment. Is all.
Okay, no, that's fine.
There were so many words I didn't understand there.
You?
Yeah,
Now you know how we feel.
pivot tables and
But you have a big vocabulary.
but
This
I-
is Excel
do.
talk. I mean, you don't say any of this outside of Excel, but yeah, there's been if functions, Excel, VLOOKUPs, and pivot tables.
So
Columns.
Excel, that's like the Microsoft document
Microsoft
thing,
Excel,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
Yeah, it's spreadsheets, worksheets. It's
hate
almost
spreadsheets.
and it's almost like a $1,000 calculator in a sense.
Dude, I
Not in the sense that it
hate
costs you $1,000.
spreadsheets.
Just
Yeah, you can do
It-
a lot of that.
you can if you know how to use it, you can do so much on Excel. It's just actually learning how to use it and what to put in Excel. Oh my god, it's so complicated. But that's kind of been my life this semester. Is I started out knowing nothing about Excel, and now I'm still know nothing, but I know slightly more than before.
Well, buddy, I wish you all the best. I'm sure you're gonna do great. You do very well with lists. I know that. So.
What?
I like I like
Well, no, he loves organization and like I imagine spreadsheets is definitely your forte.
Okay.
I mean, I
right.
guess as much as it can be.
You do so good with an elementary level thing.
I
of
just-
writing
Shut
lists.
up,
Sorry.
Layton.
I
Oh
just,
my god.
I just thought that was a funny thing to compliment someone on.
I don't know how to explain it, man. Like
You're
Wrestling-
really good at counting to 10.
You should have just said
Bananas.
organization.
you are. He's good at
Layton,
organization.
I think you're pretty
Paper
good at putting your
plates.
clothes on. You do a
Oh
really
my
good
God.
job with it.
Napkins.
Well, I hope he does a good
my
job with it.
gosh.
My gosh. All right, here. Anyway, Leighton, you
Okay.
said that you had something.
Yes, I
Back to
did.
the
Vegetables.
original
Like
question.
Zach, though, I do want to make a comment. I had an entire class on just spreadsheets, and then I had
That's nice to
another
have.
class where it was like a quarter of it or a third of it was on spreadsheets.
Oh yeah, to
and
where it
so-
was like a mixture of
Yeah, you did that one.
Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and
Oh,
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I had that too, actually.
Yeah,
I
that-
didn't know what
It's
it
a
was
use-
called.
I mean,
but-
it goes over the
Computer
extreme
yes.
basics, but it's
Yeah.
a good class to have.
And then
like
after
Tomatoes.
that, I had just a spreadsheets where it went a little bit further, which was still pretty cool. Probably forgot just about all of it, but anyway, the one class that I'm actually having this semester that has nothing to do with my like IT degree that I've found useful. It's like the only class I've found useful that is outside of my degree. But anyway, it's the career development class. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I'm taking it.
Yep.
Which never thought I would say if it wasn't a computer class, you know. But we're doing things. At the end, we're gonna do like practice interviews and stuff like that. But I've made like a cover letter, a thank you letter, worked on my resume, like all kinds of different stuff
Yep.
to help you get prepared for applying for a job, which I actually use because I applied for a job.
That's something else helpful for me
nice.
too. Is I had a career development class, but specifically for sports,
Mm.
and so they would teach you like something they said in like when you're interviewing for a job in sports, people do not want to hear like when they ask you why do you want this job and why do you feel like you do good in this job.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to hear well I love sports or I just really have a huge passion for sports, and they don't want to hear
'Cause
that.
every single person is going
Every
to say
person's
that.
gonna say
It's the
that.
same with like putting on your resume or something like, "Oh, I'm a hard worker." It's like that doesn't mean anything. Everyone's going to say they're a hard
Yeah.
worker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that career. Yeah, because that was like the only one of the only classes I ever took in school that actually, like, you would actually, I don't know, apply right then, and you could apply for the rest of your life. That was, I don't know. There's not a lot of classes like that. So
That's cool though. Did you say that you actually applied for a job?
I did.
That's super cool. Where'd you apply? Or if you actually, you don't have to say.
he applied at Hose.
Hose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he applied to the lumber department. There was an opening.
He might switch to Home Depot, but
Oh,
To the dark
I
side.
might be a lot better.
Work in that lumber department.
All right, but here,
Anyway,
Bald Man
else.
or Mr. Thinker over there. Do either of you have something?
Thinker.
let's go to Thinky.
Let's go to Thinky, which apparently is my nickname now. So we're talking about most useful classes. As
No.
far as gen eds go, none of
Not
them
necessarily. Just
Well,
something that.
Something
had an impact.
It could be the most useless class overall, but if there was just the one thing in that one class that really stuck with you, then that counts.
Ooh. I mean, as far as useful classes, any gen ed ones. Is
That's a joke. Said useful?
said useless.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
as
I
far, I,
agree,
mean,
I
okay.
agree.
Beyond the basics, I mean, anything beyond the basics of all those gen eds to me was just a waste of time. But obviously, the most impactful classes I've ever had in my life have been music classes for the most part. I will say I did get more out of psychology and sociology classes in college than I thought I would. Granted, I didn't necessarily agree with everything that was said or some of the ideas that people had in that class, but that did get me to think about people from more of a standpoint of okay, where are they coming from and why are they coming from this standpoint. So even though it was not my favorite by any means, I still got a lot out of it, and I would say that I use that when I don't know, when I'm trying to understand people. Like it helps in relationships, like at your job, even like if you can understand something that upsets someone, or if you're trying to get on their good side.
What was the name of that class?
Psychology,
Oh,
but
sorry.
sociology a little bit, but mostly psychology.
Okay.
Both of them. Thought both of them.
Psychology was more helpful. Sociology was maybe it was just the teacher, but
Psychology is
It-
a lot more interesting.
yeah.
I never took psychology because the professor at my community college, where you're going, she was just had the worst reputation. So I never took psychology, and I took sociology, arguably the easiest class I've ever taken. But
Really?
admittedly, in that one, I didn't learn.
See,
too
it was the
much.
opposite for me. The
Oh, was it?
psychology was like really super helpful, and the guy was like actually wanting you to learn things that you can apply in everyday life rather than just make you take a bunch of tests.
Well, that's good.
I had
Sociology,
ethics.
yeah. Well, sociology, the teacher was a nut. Anyway,
So
Yeah,
it was
like-
just like the opposite.
yeah,
of-
the opposite
okay, nice.
experience of you actually.
I thought I
you
was.
had what?
I had
Ethics?
ethics instead of psychology or sociology.
Ooh,
Dude, I actually thought, I'm like, okay, this may not be too bad.
Sounds
you know?
interesting.
It did sound interesting to me.
What's the premise of the class?
Ethics.
Okay, so
which
that's
is?
that's highly subjective.
Like, what is like morally good or bad? Why different
Oh,
beliefs
gosh.
on
Well-
why things are right and wrong and like that.
Wait,
That's
I'm
very
with Leighton. Why
subjective.
does that need to be explained? It's ethics.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ethics.
yeah, well, everyone has like
do you
different
teach it?
ideas of ethics.
Exactly.
ethics.
We
Well, no,
study
that's the
different
whole
ideas
point of
That's
the
the point
class.
of it.
Yeah, it's like what's
Oh.
psychology?
Yeah.
so it's
Psychology.
It's the study of
I mean, like,
nice.
I
it's
don't
the
know.
study of studying.
The
yeah.
study of
No, that's
different-
education.
Yeah.
Golly. So it's the study of different people's ethics.
Yeah, so like we would
Cool.
go back and like look at what the crap Socrates thought about whatever, and then
That-
different things, and
And I'm sure there's like equality versus equity
Yeah,
and stuff
we
like that.
talked
Like I've had
about
classes
that.
about that.
That might have been my least favorite class throughout my 4 years of school.
really,
Well, it was sports ethics, but it was still, it all was terrible.
I think if
So
you
what
put-
do you
that.
do if LeBron James hurts himself on the court?
that's morally wrong.
If you put
Anyway,
sports in front of the class,
dude,
it just sounds cooler.
there was this one that was we learned about the divine command theory. Have you
I
heard of
remember
this?
that.
This I hated talking about it because you would have to watch this video about why it was a dilemma. So it'd be like, let's say you believe in God, and God says that this is right. Then it would try to argue that, well, that's not morally correct because the only reason something is right is because someone says it's right, so that's wrong. There is no moral correctness within itself. It's dependent upon someone saying that this is right.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
that's
like
where-
the whole idea behind it.
That's where it goes back to the whole higher power idea.
Exactly, and they didn't like that.
No.
Well, I mean, half the class is probably Christian, so yeah, at least where I go. So they were probably not
Interesting.
liking the class, and the discussions were very interesting.
I'm sure they
Everyone
got.
was-
They
heated.
always
Yeah.
are in those types of classes because
Yeah.
you get everybody from all sorts of different backgrounds. Even in the class I had, like you had some people like saying some very out there things on both sides of it, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ah,
Oh no, in my
Ew.
in my sociology class, it was so funny because there was this one girl that was like extremely far to the left, and she'd be saying like all these things from that viewpoint, and then there was one guy who was like super far to the right, and he was saying all these things from that viewpoint,
Yeah.
and they would almost be like feuding back and forth.
and
in
neither
class.
one of them was wrong
or neither one of them was
all
right.
right.
So
Yeah.
in their eyes.
Bald man, is there any anything in school that surprised you and helped you out?
That surprised me. I don't know. So with, I guess the trade school I'm going to. I've said the name of it, haven't I?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's I mean,
You have.
it's up to you if you.
Yeah.
care
Well,
if
Dark
it's-
Horse. I think. I mean, everything I've wanted to learn there, I've had the intention of learning and was taught. So I don't know. There wasn't anything that really surprised me that I was like, oh, Noah, can you think of anything that you learned over there, like in the audio program, that you were like, I didn't think that I'd need this, but this is actually cool.
You might need a mic.
Oh, here you go, buddy. Little switch off. We went to the same school, same class, same year, and everything.
I'll just say the only thing, it's not necessarily audio related, but it's when Elliot would go on his like financial, rants.
Oh yeah, that's true. Our professor, I completely forgot
Well,
about
DJ
that. Thank
L.
you.
That was
Y-
such
you
a
know
call
him.
a friend.
Yeah, yeah, that was a call a friend for sure. Thank you, Noah. DJL, he would literally like stop class to be able to tell us like, hey, we are freelance workers. We want to work in audio, and this is the best way we can do it. You're gonna have to follow your taxes a specific way, and you're also gonna be in charge of all of your money, unlike if you were to work a job that hands out a paycheck. So
Oh, yeah.
he would literally stop class and be like, "This is how you file for a 401k. This is how you do your investing. This is how my bank accounts are set up. This one specifically for taxes, and then every year I send it to this person." It was like, "Oh, well, this
That
is
sounds
cool."
extremely useful.
And it wasn't in the curriculum at all, and it was awesome because he genuinely cared enough to want to tell us like, "Hey, this is going to be really complicated, and I don't want you just like running around like a chicken with its head cut off as soon as you get to work."
Oh yeah, no,
so.
it's the worst when you don't. I mean, luckily, I still just use like a W-2, but
Yeah.
dude, it's the hardest when like you're self-employed and you're trying to figure out all these taxes stuff.
Yeah.
Like if that's what you do for a living, at least. Like if you don't do it for a living, then it's not as bad. But when you do it for a living in your livelihood, having to figure out taxes like that, it's just, oh my gosh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And not that
I'm
this
gonna-
podcast is made a lot, but taxes are going to be interesting this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a learning curve. or
Yeah, it'll be
whatever.
different.
It is. You know, we'll make it work though. It's not going
Yeah,
to
it'll
be
be
too bad.
fine.
So.
I have to file a 1099 this year, which will be interesting. But it's kind of like kind of cool and kind of not. If I break 10,000, I have to file a 1099. If I don't, I don't have to.
So is your goal to get $9,999?
Oh, you betcha, baby.
And 99 cents.
Yeah,
And
and 99
99
cents.
cents, yeah.
Every bit of it.
Yeah.
And 99 cents.
I know.
But anyways.
Just on your last
Oh.
day, your boss has you work some overtime, and you're
99
just like,
cents.
"Hey, can you break some overtime laws and not pay me?"
Yeah.
Something along the lines of school is so my this is something I really respected is my favorite teacher in high school. I might have talked about him before. He was my criminal justice teacher junior and senior year, and he was one of if not the only teacher I ever had. So like at least with public school is I would either have teachers that you would have really fun in their class, but you wouldn't learn like anything. Or you
Yeah.
would have teachers that they were great teachers, but it was just boring. And so this teacher did so well with making sure that the class was fun, but you learned a lot too. So like he was a police officer before before he started teaching, and he was in the military. And so he was able to give us like actual background of the stuff he was teaching us and give like real life examples to what like had to be taught through the curriculum.
Dope.
Yeah, that was really cool. But then he would go like out of the way to make sure we understood how to like format a resume that wasn't even it didn't even have anything to do with the class. He was like, this is important for you guys, and I know you aren't being taught this. And so he would teach us how to format a resume, how to format a cover letter, how to actually look for jobs, what it means to employers, that like how you work and stuff. And that was something I really respected because no other teacher cared enough. Well, I don't say care enough. No other teacher did that. And
Put in the effort.
yeah, and I love the guy. Like I think I've told you guys before, this is the teacher that we had a really cool relationship, and so
Think so.
we just messed around with each other. And so like I'd like sit down in the class and go, "What's up, Mr. Hopkins?" and just slap the crap out of my back. And
Oh.
I'd like hit him back, and we just like get in
that.
a scuffle. and,
What's up,
like-
you turd?
Yeah,
So you piece
he
of
was just
crap.
cool.
Yeah.
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 And then he would do stuff like in the middle
Get
of
into
class.
it.
He would have like an eraser. He'd just be teaching, and he would just like chuck it at me. And I just try to. He was just fun,
And then
but
you filed a lawsuit.
Fun guy.
yeah, he doesn't even teach anymore, so
Well,
too
thank
late
you.
for that.
Yeah, I think
But-
also inserting things that aren't necessarily in the curriculum along that theme of, I know I think I know all of your parents here, at least those of you
Yeah.
that were.
Thank you.
I don't think you know
I think
Layton's.
I don't know, maybe,
I
maybe.
don't.
But anyway,
I'm
where I was
adopted.
going with that is,
Yeah.
especially when you're homeschooled, you do get that extra layer of like, if it's your parents teaching you, or even at a tutorial, it's usually a friend of your parents that you know is teaching a class. So you do kind of get that more personal touch.
Yeah.
That's usually pretty impactful.
Yeah, and it meant a lot too because he would look at there. He always had smaller classes because criminal justice was always what's the name of it? Like you got to pick whether
extracurricular.
no
Elective.
elective. It was an
Elective.
elective, and for some
Oh.
reason, not a lot of people took that class.
Sounds
But he
fun.
always took the time to go around. There was always like a class of like 12 or something in there. He would go around. He would like shake your hand and like look you in the eyes and ask you how you were doing. Like no, teachers did not do that, but he did. I respect him so much. I like when I see him out. But
If I may riff on that a bit,
yeah,
I had a really cool experience with my boss at school the other day. I'm not going to say who my boss is, but he
Timothy.
Who's your boss?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I work at Dark Horse. I work for the grounds crew right now, and I do a little bit of everything. Like I'll weed eat, I'll help out with the construction crew a little bit, and just like do a bunch of random stuff around the property. And it's a great job. It really is nice because I can like physically exert myself, and I'm sure you guys can relate to this to an extent, like physically exerting
I've
yourself.
worked outside before.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
exerted myself all the
I've
time.
been exerted.
my point.
Worked on a farm for years.
Is
I've
that-
actually worked outside before.
Okay. My point.
Did you work on a farm?
Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
Sorry.
Let the bald man speak, please.
These aren't just ducks now. They're my emotional support ducks.
You bring them
stuff-
with you into the restaurant like a little leash on your keychain.
Anyways, outside exertion.
Oh god. Okay, so physically exerting yourself when you're like really stressed out, I feel is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
That was all I was gonna say. That being said, there was one day I was working and I started a new ADHD stimulant. So I had taken Adderall for some time, which for those who don't know is just something to help me focus. And I stopped taking it like a few years ago because it made me zombified, was what I called it. Like it made me like really zone out. I could focus great. It was awesome. I just couldn't like function as a human being and socialize with people. So
Side effects may include.
yeah, exactly. So my therapist, she prescribed me something else to try, and it's been working great. But before we got to the one I'm on now, I tried one of a different one day that she prescribed me, and it was the day I worked, and I was outside, and I was like throwing up, like I was like so like focused on like everything to the point where I would like stare at a blade of grass for like 10 minutes. It was insane. Like
That's
and,
crazy.
and so I told my boss, I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. This is a really rough day for me. I just started a new med and it's making me have like some weird side effects. And so he was like, oh yeah, of course. Take the day off. Your health always comes first. Thanks for bringing this to my attention. And whenever you get the chance, let's talk more about some of your health concerns so that I can know about them. And I was like,
Yeah, that's
Oh.
really cool.
yeah, that was really super cool. But what was even better, he took it a step further. When I went the next day to get back to work, I wasn't taking the medicine that day, obviously. I went back and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. I'd love to fill you in on just some of my, stuff that may prohibit me from being able to complete my job. And he actually sat down and like asked me what I was doing before I went to Dark Horse and like how I was doing as a person, what's been going on, and just like why I took this job and different ones. And he like, it was very considerate of him. I loved it. It was
Yeah.
great. It was like a really cool boss moment.
Mhm.
Oh,
Never
that's
had that.
awesome.
Yeah, whenever you have people like in a leadership position like that means so much more than I think they realize.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, don't get me wrong, he works me hard, like really hard, but we have a lot of mutual respect with each other, I think, because he likes that I work hard, which toot toot, I do. And yeah, and I respect him because he actually cared about what I had to say. So it's just cool.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
rare.
that's really cool.
When someone takes the time to get to know you, especially
Yeah.
a boss.
Oh yeah.
Well, plus it gives you more incentive to work harder. And then when you're being
Yep.
put and doing all this hard work, when you're exerting yourself outside,
Yeah.
it gives you more incentive to actually want to do that. You're like, you know what, I like this. I like who I'm doing this for and everything. So it helps with that.
Sorry.
Like
What are y'all laughing
Me
about?
and Presley are just.
You need to stop looking at each other.
y'all just looking at each other.
Yeah,
y'all
We're
are
thinking the
such
same
cute
thing.
brothers.
We're thinking
Evan
the
and I-
same thing.
Evan and I have been persecuted so much on this podcast.
I'm just sitting here.
Yes,
I don't know what's
you're
going
by
on.
yourself, bud.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're
Me
not
and Andy up there.
You're not persecuted or the persecutor.
I'm just
You're
here.
I
You're
know.
just
I know. I kept saying it, but I really do love this sign.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
Oh, the
so
sign is
fantastic.
awesome.
Thanks.
They like the decorating I did.
You're welcome.
Oh, the ducks. Oh, it's great.
Also, in case the leaders of the church see this, we did not put a single nail
church?
in this.
They know that we film in a church.
They
Like,
do.
Yeah.
yes,
they-
we've
yeah.
said that
We've said
multiple
Don't
times.
be rude. It's okay.
Have we said that?
Shmev, you're an
Did I-
idiot.
Did I just out us?
Just don't be rude.
No,
Stop
they,
persecuting
They
him.
already knew.
The address is. Anyways, I was just gonna say we didn't
Okay,
put any
not that
nails on the
far.
wall. It's
We're
just
on the corner of Main and Maple.
we
Yep.
found out a way to hang this without actually like nailing stuff in the wall. So
Yeah.
It's permanently there.
forever.
Forever.
Yeah,
what you
it's
gotta
staying
do.
there
We're
now.
The
gonna
awkward
have,
tapes.
having a Bible study in here. Like, what is that?
You know, instead, let's just carve it into the wall.
All right, everyone. Let's
Graffiti.
turn
All right.
to Awkward Tapes, chapter 3,
Oh,
verse
gosh,
13.
no.
No, Awkward Tapes,
Sacrilege.
episode 50, timestamp 30 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so Shmavadinus said, "Let there be light."
Oh, that's when our power went out.
That's
Right,
when the
right.
power went out. Exactly, yeah.
Oh man, how are we on time there, Noah?
I think we're good.
No, we're up.
We're good.
Yeah, we don't have our timer here today. We
Oh,
need to-
30. Okay.
I'll
so-
do it on my phone. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you guys for coming back. We really appreciate it.
We love
See
you.
y'all.
Okay. All right.
What?
That's it. That's it.
Hold on. Okay,
That's
well,
it.
bye.
Yeah.
You don't want to tell the world what we have going on?
Yeah, we do a podcast.
Oh,
Is that
no,
what you
no,
want?
no,
No,
no.
the
This is what he
Discord.
means. This is what he means.
Right?
We're going to eat lunch after this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after.
Not after.
I
this,
thought-
but like today we're
We
gonna eat
launched an
lunch.
Instagram account.
Yes. Oh, guys.
The Discord, right?
I want to give a
There we
shout out to Zach Cook. That's his last
Yeah,
name.
Zach Cook. Yeah.
Zach
Yep.
Cook. I know you're listening to this. We appreciate you very
We
much
see you.
What a
for
guy.
helping us out with our Discord. So,
Yeah.
you guys that aren't in our Discord, go check out our Discord and see all the fun little channels he put and all the creative stuff he put in there. There's like a section for Prusty Thoughts and there's a section for ducks where you can just it's only for ducks. Talk about ducks and give us duck suggestions.
If you talk about
Yep.
about swans
Permaband.
in that chat,
Yep.
you're out.
Yeah, we want to hang out with you guys and get to know you. So join the Discord and we'll talk to you guys and have some fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
huge shout out though, because that thing was good, but I don't think any of us have really used Discord
No,
as
I
well as
haven't.
he has. So he
No.
really took the time to set it up and set up the different topics and subtopics and all that, and
Oh yeah.
really made it look
All
good.
right.
so.
And at least the two Evans have been active on there, so we'll
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
say hi to you.
I definitely have it. Well, I also wanted to
Me and
say
Evan have.
a quick thank you to Zach Cook because what?
Sorry, just it's funny saying
Didn't we
let's just
just
give a
do
quick
that?
thank you after we just gave a thank you.
Well,
no, that
I
was a
just wanted
thank
to-
you. This is a quick thank you.
This is a
Okay,
quick.
sorry.
Exactly. Anyways, what's your quick?
I'm
tip?
sorry.
Oh
I'll be fast.
Be
So
quick.
Evan and I have been doing a Bible study lately, and Zach Cook, his content, he posts a lot of really cool and interesting like facts and trivia about like the Bible, and like the science behind some of it, and it's just been very, in a way, convicting. And I really enjoy his content. So if you're a Christian and you're looking to like expand your TikTok pages, go give him a look. Okay, he's awesome. I love it.
I have another quick thing.
It's a quicker thank you.
Thank you. That was it.
Thank you. Okay, yeah,
We're
come
done.
back for episode 60. 60.
60.
Is it 60?
Next
This
time.
is 59.
Wow.
Yeah, next time. will be
60 is
60.
after 59, but before 61.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Thank
Everybody
you for
already
joining
left.
us. Thank you for joining us for a session of awkwardness. Yeah, they left like 2 minutes ago.